Hello, hi everyone. So, in this video, I'm trying to show you guys how to deploy pod services and an ingress controller. That's actually through a private load balancer in Azure. So, this is my AKS cluster, and again, this is a privately hosted cluster in my private subnet. So, actually, it's a private AKS cluster deployed through Terraform. So before going to the manifest and pipeline, so there is another video which I have already uploaded, uh, an ingress controller with a private load balancer and two Nginx web pages through kubectl commands, how to deploy it through kubectl command. The same thing we are going to deploy through Azure DevOps pipeline. So before I go to the pipelines and manifest, etc., let us have a look at this Kubernetes setups. So here I'm just using just one node pool, that's default system node pool, because as this is a test environment, I don't want a separate user pool. And I'm using Azure CNI node subnet plugin, not the Azure CNI overlay or the legacy one. And here you can see I have the service CIDR number, I mean this subnet range I have given /24, and the DNS IP is 0 to 10. So basically all our hosted services, Kubernetes services, the cluster IP should be from this particular range. Okay. And on top of that, I have enabled application routing add-on. So this is the same link uh, which I've referred in the previous video, the same application routing. So what I'm trying to achieve here is uh, create two Nginx pages, and it'll be load balanced through the ingress service. It's actually a reverse proxy, acting as a reverse proxy, and corresponding DNS, private DNS error codes should add it to the private DNS zone. So this is my DNS zone. So when an ingress resource is getting created, automatically the DNS text record and also error codes will get added. So I'm going to show you guys after the deployment what are the new records being generated automatically through this. So here you can see, so these are all command line, but I did them through uh, Terraform. I mean to enable AKS app routing. So let me open my VS Code. So here you can see this is my uh, Terraform code for my cluster. So there is something called web app routing. Okay, so I need to create a DNS zone and add this zone ID here. Zone ID, so we can add multiple zone up to 7, I believe. All right, so this is how we can enable the add-on, application routing add-on. All right. For a AKS private AKS cluster deployment through Terraform, and it's the type of networking plugins we need to choose, etc., etc. I'll be sharing or uploading a separate video for it. So all right, so let me go to the pipelines. All right, so before that, this is my manifest. So I'm using deployment to deployment. So one web page with AKS1 and another with AKS2, and two clusters IP services, okay, for the first deployment and for the second deployment. And I'm calling through this app selector table, the label which I have given here. Okay, this is a matching label I'm going to give here. The same thing, so whatever I've showed in the previous video, initially it was in my local machine, and through kubectl apply command I was trying to deploy it. The same thing, I have put in everything in a single file. So here it starts the ingress. So as I said, as a prerequisites, we need to deploy this custom resource definition actually. So this is actually a custom resource That's for Azure private IP address and internal load balancer, and this has to be deployed. So when we deploy this particular manifest, you can through Terraform you can do it because it's just a one-time setup. Uh, Technically speaking, an app team, they don't want to keep on deploy this. This is the one-time exercise, so it has to be done by the infra team first. So this piece of code is what's gonna do is it's it will deploy a private load balancer. So let me go to the load balancer profile. Sorry, it's actually here. Yes, you can see Kubernetes internal. So I think I already have mentioned in my previous video. So how this is happening is with this annotation, load balancer internal true, and also this ingress class name as Nginx hyphen internal. So these are the two lines which actually helps us to create this internal load balancer. Okay, so let me open this load balancer. Here you can see these are all default rules. There, these are all default rules when this manifest is getting deployed. I mean the ingress guy, the ingress manifest. Okay, sorry, this one. Okay, so this is actually the prerequisites. Okay, so this is just a one time for an ideal scenario in enterprise environment. This is just a one time setup. So now let me go back to the manifest. I think I already have gone through this, and I'm using the YAML template. I'm sorry, the YAML pipeline. So here you can say AKS to deploy to YAML. So I'm using my Windows switch machine, which is deployed in Azure as a self-hosted Windows agent, and I'm using the task Kubernetes manifest and the version 1. Okay, so here you can see deploy, action deploy, and this is my connection type, Kubernetes connection type, and the connection name is AKS-connection. This is a service connection which I've created for all the Kubernetes pod deployment. You can see AKS connection type as Kubernetes. So this again is a kubeconfig based authentication. So we need to get the kubeconfig file, uh, and we need to paste the kubeconfig value here, so it'll get authenticated. So that value contains Kubernetes API hostname with the DNS. So here you can see I have done a DNS zone attachment with Kubernetes services. So you can see the error code when the Kubernetes is deployed. This is my Kube API server DNS. So when we do an NS lookup, it will resolve to this 10.10.10. This should be the VMS's IP which is hosted. Okay. So now, sorry, yeah. So here is my pipeline. So I'm using this YAML pipeline. So that's all. So I created a new pipeline and I've used this YAML. So it's nothing special. It's sorry back. I don't want to run that again. Yeah, just run the pipeline again. So before that, let me show you the kubectl outputs. So kports. So this is a shortcut. I mean the alias I've created for kubectl commands like kubectl get ports from the default namespace because I'm deploying it in default namespace. Okay, no resources form. There is no ports. Now ksvc, there's a kubectl gets svc, that means get service. So there's a Kubernetes cluster IP, that's the default one when we deploy Kubernetes. Okay. And let's check any ingress is there. That is kubectl get ingress. So that's a shortcut. I'm sorry. So it will be like this: kubectl get ingress. So no resources found in default namespace. It's the same thing. No, I'm just shortcut king. No, nothing. So what we are going to do is, let us deploy this, run the pipeline again. All right. It'll be really quick. Okay, deployment created. Okay, so now let us go back to the VM and let me run the kubectl command. So kpod, so kubectl get pods, you can see, AKS hello world 1 and hello world 2, it's running. And let's see the services. You can see there's 2 cluster IPs I've created. So yeah, this is what I've mentioned in the beginning. All the services which we are hosting in AKS on this AKS cluster, the IPs range, all those IPs range will be from this range 10.1.0.0/24. So here again you can see 10.1.0.212 and 72. Okay, and now let's check the ingress controller. So yes, this is the ingress controller. You can see the Nginx internal class name, ingress class name, and 2 host 1.privatelink.west0 and 2.privatelink.west0. Okay, so let us give a describe for it. So this actually kubectl describe ingress and the ingress name. So here you can see these are the host name and its associated backend. All right, so these are the cluster, the node IPs, I mean the port IPs. So k ports. Okay, so let us take the hello world 1, the first guy. So sorry, didn't copy that. So kubectl describe port 1, port name 1. So you can see, so it's in a default namespace and the IP is 10.0.10.138. So if you go back to this ingress one, you can see the backend, it goes to through this through the cluster IP, it goes to this port IP. So that's why this is the front end, and similarly another URL, it goes to this particular port. All right, so let us come to the DNS. So this is the previous one. So let me refresh this page. So you can see additional text record for 1, 2, and 1, there is an error code. This is actually the load balancer front end IP, and this is for the 2.privatelink.west0.aks. This again to 10.0.99. That is the, again, that's the private load balancer front end IP. So let's see how to browse it, how this works. So we just need to double check it. Sorry, this is actually the previous one which I've deployed already. Okay, so let us copy this. Let me close this window. open a new window. So now here is http://1 dot private link dot web 0. How this work, you can see with AKS 1. Similarly for 2, look, 2, AKS 2 and AKS 1. And here I haven't used the TLS certificate. Similarly, I'm going to share another video, upload another video on TLS certificate. Like there's some open source open source microservice available that is actually known as cert manager, that you can that automatically manages the certificate, and every 90 days every 60 days it gets keep rotated the certificate. And there's another option. Let's say if you're working on a enterprise environment, sometimes there will be a private certificates, I mean to say privately signed certificate. That case, we may have to create a Kubernetes certificate secret, and we just need to pass it through the ingress. I followed this document. Okay, this is the document which I followed. So you can see how this is being done, and this is the manifest rules. I mean the syntax is what all items we can add, kind, etc, etc. And here also again it'll show you how to add the TLS one. Okay, so we integrated TLS secret. So that's I'm gonna create a separate video on it. Yeah, that's it. So this is how we can create a pipeline for pod deployment and service deployment, other stuff. And there are some Helm chart also is available. So let's say we can even use the Helm chart, which is publicly available, for some common app deployment, just as it can use as a template. So that's again I have not added in my video. That's I'm going to add it later. All right, thanks everyone. So let us know if you have any doubts. So comment, you can mention in the comments. Thank you.